Chris Ido there looking at the status of the judiciary, the back and forth that we've witnessed from different political leaders right after that ruling by the Supreme Court. Now, the identification process of the 9 students who perished in the Moi Girls High School inferno began today. Parents and relatives flocked the Chiromo mortuary to offer their DNA samples. The identification process is expected to be finalized in 3 weeks' time. Raquel Muigai has the details.
At the Chiromo mortuary, a dull Tuesday morning that seemed to depict the somber mood that engulfed parents and friends of the 9 students that perished in the inferno at the Moi Nairobi Girls High School in Kibra, Nairobi. Most of the parents were overcome with grief, tears flowing freely as they stood in groups offering consolation to each other just ahead of the painstaking process of DNA sampling. The government pathologist Johansson Oduor, officials from the government chemist as well as the skilled counsellors had to brief the parents before the process began, a measure that sought to inform the parents of just what they were to encounter.
The bodies have been kept aligned somewhere for the families to get satisfied if they can have a view and see if they can do an identification prior to the real exercise of post-mortem sampling.
And one by one, they entered to offer their DNA samples, as well as getting a chance to view the remains of their daughters. A chance that was too difficult for most of the parents.
There is one body whereby 2 families are identified, partially saying it belongs to the 2 families, but we have addressed that one by allowing the DNA sampling and the postmortem process to proceed on, so that the real results to who the body belongs to will be through the investigation.
Ibrahim Aziz is just one of the many relatives that came here. His niece, Hawa Aziz, was one of the students that perished in the early Saturday morning inferno. The last time they interacted with Hawa was the weekend before she reported to school on that fateful week.
She used to say she would love to be a lawyer. You saw even in school, everybody's Hawa, Hawa, Hawa. At Form 1. She was very talkative, she was jovial. Yeah.
The identification results are expected to be released in 3 weeks, as it largely depends on the quality of the sample extracts the doctors were able to get from the remains.
We have set a desk at the Moi Girls Secondary School so that desk there will be somebody who will be able to communicate. But we want to serve the parent who will get the results immediately.
We were briefed and told that it would take 3 weeks to 1 month. We are hoping they can fast track. And once that one is done, we don't have a choice.
The government has, however, promised to cater for costs incurred for the treatment of the injured students, as well as the identification process and funeral arrangements of the deceased. Raquel Muigai, KTN News.